All right. So listen, we're on page 69 and we're talking about organization. And tell us what about the introduction? Read what it says.
The introduction, the inserter occurs. May review the information from previous lecture.
Okay. Number one thing in introduction, it's the opportunity for the instructor to go back and review from the day before. That's probably going to happen in the introduction. All right. What's the second thing? Introduce
a new topic.
And that's the other thing. They're going to tell you what they're going to talk about, okay, for that day. Okay. It says the introduction can be short, but it is very important for understanding the organization of the lecture. The introduction can often mention the main ideas of the lecture. These can help you figure out the organizational structure. Hey, listen. When you guys go to university, especially when you go to get your master's, it is almost impossible to read everything, like carefully. I remember when I started my master's, I added up all the pages I was supposed to read from all the books. It was 50 pages a day. I remember wanting to cry and thinking, this is impossible. And what you have to realize is they expect you to be able to skim and find the important information in a text. They don't usually expect you to read everything. So you've got to be able to find the important part. Go to the introduction. All right? Whatever it is you're reading, just read carefully the introduction, and it's almost always going to tell you what the main points are. Okay? And in most textbooks, there's headings. Right?
Yeah.
So read the introduction, and then quickly scan the headings. Okay? And a lot of times they'll even ask you to answer something specific in an assignment. It doesn't mean you have to read everything. Okay? Look at the introduction, and then look at the headings to find out that specific part of where you need to find that piece of information. And then, so that takes you to that location, and then guess what? Now let's keep reading. So that's the introduction. That's how it helps you. Okay?
Like summarize.
Yeah, it summarizes. It really does. Hey, look at it this way. The introduction says what I'm going to say, right, in the future. The body, I say what I'm going to say. And then in the conclusion, I remind you of what I just said. So that's how it works. Let's look at the other part of the introduction. I'm sorry, the body now. It says, in the body. Let's see, Ali, read the body. In the body.
In the body, the instructor will provide more detailed information about the topic, the pattern and type of these information. This information depends on the organizational structure.
Good. So listen. He just told you in the introduction, and listen, in the thesis statement, look near the end of the introduction. They're going to list or even tell you directly the things he's going to talk about in each paragraph. Okay? And then once you actually get to the paragraphs, they're going to employ those 4 strategies we talked about. Probably. Argumentative, descriptive, explanation, and even maybe employ discussion at the end. Okay? By the way, as you were doing that little project, trying to figure out what order that the lecture would be in, what kind of strategy is he going to employ? It's pretty clear it's going to be what kind of a strategy from the 4.
I think discussion.
He talks about, of course, there's explanation, right? But he talks about disadvantages, advantages, yeah. So the thrust of his argument is going to be an argument, and he's going to show you pros and cons, advantages, disadvantages. You okay? All right. So in the conclusion, Mana, what do we do in a conclusion?
In the conclusion, the instructor may summarize or repeat the main point.
Okay, first thing they're going to do, they're going to tell you what they just said. They're going to go back and remind you of the most important things. Second thing,
give the topic of the next lecture.
I'm going to tell you what I'm going to say tomorrow, so you have an idea of what the topic will be for the next day. Okay, good. Everybody okay?
Yep.
All right. I love this little chart here. This is pretty cool. It gives you patterns of organization again. It gives you the focus of what's going to be talked about using that pattern. Okay? It gives an introduction. What kind of a strategy they'll probably use in the introduction. And then in the body, it kind of gives you an idea of what to look for in the body. And then in the conclusion, they tell you kind of how it will probably end. So take a look at that. Everybody just kind of read over that real quick for a second. Super useful chart, okay? So read it carefully to yourself. Just kind of skim over it. When you're done, look up so I know you're done looking at the chart. And read it across this way, okay? So look at a description. What's the focus? Yeah.
Can you pull it down?
Pull what down? Oh, the shades?
Yeah, it's
You got to bring your sunglasses, man. Let me turn this. Let's do the first one together, just so you get the idea. Hamoud, what kind of an essay is this? The first one, description. What does it focus on?
Facts.
What about in the introduction?
Names the thing to be described.
Yep. In the body?
The body lists different picture of things.
And then in the conclusion?
Optional mention the thing described again.
Good. Look at the other ones real quick. I'll just let you kind of skim over the chart there.
Explanation.
Just give the eye to explain.
Facts. The introduction and give explain. Lists.
Teacher, we can do exercise E with this argument here. We can do.
Yeah. You could.
Gives arguments.
It makes it easier, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now that you know kind of the strategy. It says, understanding these relationships between parts of a lecture, I'm at the bottom of page 69, will help you recognize the parts, even when the lecturer does not state the relationship clearly. However, to help you more, most lecturers use various signals, including the following. So look at these signals, and you can use these in yours. In the introduction, to show which idea is the main idea, they'll say something like the main point, the main thing, or the main focus is toads today. The most important idea I'd like to talk about today is Coca-Cola. Our focus today is on marketing, something like that, okay? In the body, to introduce a main idea, they're going to use words like first.
Let's move on.
Let's move on to, they might transition from the introduction to the first main point. However,
but
all right, to start the conclusion,
in summary,
to conclude today, let's wrap up today's lecture. Have you guys heard that? Wrap up?
no.
Let's wrap it up. That means I'm going to kind of end here. Some of these words also mark smaller ideas such as supporting ideas. Turn the page. Okay. How do you guys feel about note taking? Are you good at taking notes?
No.
Yeah? It is an art, by the way. And there's different ways to do it, and everybody's brain is a little bit different. But whatever you do, the main thing is, do you capture the main idea? Okay? There's different ways to do it. They give you 3 strategies. Charts. Maybe you like to make a chart. Okay? An outline or a diagram. By the way, which one do you like?
Outline.
You like outlines?
Diagram is exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah. So a diagram would be like this. And then a chart, well, a diagram is kind of like, isn't it?
Fucking big.
Yeah.
Yeah, contrast.
A chart is kind of, usually a chart might have like columns. So this down here could be a chart as well. Note-taking tools. Have you guys ever seen a Venn diagram?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it in
You just did it?
Yeah.
105.
You did 105? Okay. It shows you the area in the middle, of course, is the similarities. So you got the differences over here and the similarities. A T-chart is useful for sections of a lecture that... So this is a T-chart right here, where you basically... It's good if you have like pros and cons, arguments for, arguments against. You guys okay?
Yep.
All right. It says, let's see here. It says organizational structure, work with a partner, write the most appropriate organizational structure next to each note-taking tool. More than one note-taking tool is possible for some of the organizational structures. Let's just kind of talk about this. For giving different features of a product or a description, which one of these tools would you guys think would work best for you?
I think
Paragraph.
Okay. I do like, you're showing like a description and different features of, does it say different? Yeah, different features of the product. So maybe you're looking at, so you could show the differences, right? And then some of the similarities as well, really easy with that. You could use, you said this one right here, the T-chart. That would work too. What about giving reasons why something happens or an explanation?
This T-shirt.
You use a T-chart? So it happens when this is true, on this side.
Yeah.
It happens differently on the other side when this is the situation. Could do that. Give steps in a process that repeats.
T-chart.
T-chart would work real nice. Or even,
Cycle.
Diagram.
you can do it, you can do a diagram. It's
I
just,
don't know, I like T-chart.
you love the T-chart.
Yeah,
Is that the way your brain thinks?
because I like it. Like I can write many things.
Mhm.
Like there is enough space to write. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's different. Some people, when they see something visually, like a picture, they learn better. Some people learn better by dividing it into, categories and then writing stuff down. Everybody's a little bit different. Supporting an opinion with reasons and evidence, argument.
I'll go with Venn diagram.
Would you? I'd probably go with a T-chart on that one, pros and cons. That's just me. Examine similarities and differences.
Paragraph.
You love the Venn diagram. All right. Turn the page.
Difference.
Hey, listen, we're going to take a time out on the listening. What I'm going to do is, I gave, let's see, Abdul Rahman Al-Nazi, you're going to do page 60 tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
For me. And Mana, you're going to do 61 through 62, okay? If you don't have enough stuff, okay, to get us through, Ali, will you take D on page 71? And you kind of run that, okay?
D?
Yeah, D. Tomorrow, if these guys get through their sections during the speaking evaluation, for those of you that weren't here, didn't hear me yesterday, tomorrow we're doing speaking evaluation 2. Okay, it's worth 15% of your grade. I'm going to take my questions. It's going to be an interview. Okay, I'm going to ask you questions from Unit 2. So make sure you know the grammar. Make sure you know the vocabulary. I might just ask you the meaning of a word from the vocabulary. Okay, I'm probably just going to ask you questions, and I want you to talk to me. And also make sure you understand the grammar. I might ask you, I might set it up so that you have to use some of the grammar. Okay? Everybody okay? And while I'm doing that, we're going to do it during class. I gave Mana and Abdul Rahman and now Ali, they're going to lead the class through some listening and some discussion. So, Ali, do page 71 if you need to, if you run out of stuff, and 72. Okay?
So teacher
Yeah.
is gonna do it like one by one. Like
Yeah.
me and
I'm just going to take you in the hall and I'll talk with you.
So you want people to lead the classes?
Yeah, and I want you guys to be doing the listening activities in the book. Okay? All right. Let's go. Hey, listen, we're going to kind of switch topics for a minute. And we're going to jump over. Actually, you don't even go anywhere. Just listen and watch. Okay? The last thing we have in this book to talk about are the perfect tenses. By the way, let's record this. By the way, question.